Radha learned early how to listen for needs before they were spoken. In the mornings, it was the scrape of her father's worn sandals against the floor that told her it was time to wake her siblings. In the evenings, it was her mother's silence that told her how the day had gone. Money never announced its absence loudly. It showed up in smaller ways. Thin curries, postponed purchases, careful conversations held after children slept. Radha was the eldest of four. That fact mattered more than her age. School happened between chores. She studied in a government school where ambition felt like an unnecessary luxury. Homework waited until the younger ones were asleep. Still, somewhere between memorizing answers and washing dishes, a thought had taken root. She wanted to become an army officer. She never shared it. Dreams spoken too early tend to invite correction. Then one evening, her father did not return. A road accident, they said. Sudden, unavoidable. Words had arrived neatly packaged, as if they explained anything at all. By morning, the house felt permanently altered. Not louder or quieter, just heavier. The world did not soften around their loss. Rent was still due. Food still had to be cooked. Children still needed to be sent to school. Grief did not ask for permission, but responsibility did not wait for it. Radha started accompanying her mother to work after school, cleaning floors and washing dishes in houses that smelled of incense and indifference. She learned to keep her eyes down, her movements efficient. At home, she took over what her father used to handle. Errands, negotiations, decisions she was not old enough to make, but had it anyway. At night, when the house finally slept, she opened her books. Some days, her mind wandered. Some days, exhaustion won. On others, she studied with quiet ferocity, as if focus itself were an act of defiance. She did not tell herself that this would change her life. She did not promise herself success. She simply chose, again and again, not to stop. In one of the houses where she worked, a magazine lay untouched on a coffee table. Its cover showed women officers of the Indian Army, faces calm, posture unyielding. She noticed it the first time in passing. The second time, she lingered. Over days, the image began to feel less like aspiration and more like acknowledgement. One afternoon, when no one was around, Radha carefully tore the cover page free. She folded it neatly and slipped it into her notebook between ruled pages filled with equations and half-remembered answers. She never looked at it often. It was not encouragement. It was not reassurance. It was simply there. Years moved forward without ceremony. Radha passed school. She completed her graduation. Failures appeared along the way. Missed questions, tired performances, moments where doubt pressed heavily, but they were absorbed quietly, like everything else. When she decided to appear for the Combined Defense Services examination, no announcement followed. Preparation happened in borrowed hours, late nights, and disciplined mornings. She cleared the written exam, then the interviews, and one day with her simple metal box, she was at the gates of the Officers Training Academy in Chennai. In academy, the days were punishing and precise. Physical strain stripped away pretense. There was no room for self-pity and no patience for excuse. She did not stand out by speaking more or demanding attention. She stood out by enduring. Commands were followed cleanly. Tasks were completed fully. Fatigue was acknowledged and carried, not negotiated with. She did not feel transformed. She felt aligned. On the day of the passing out parade, Radha's mother sat among the parents, seated with care and respect under the beautiful, colorful shamianas arranged by the academy. The formality of the ceremony, the order, the quiet dignity of it all felt unreal to her. When Radha was announced as a best cadet, time seemed to narrow to that single moment. Radha marched forward, sword drawn, toward the chief guest, the general officer presiding over the parade, and saluted him with steady precision. Her mother's composure dissolved. Tears rolled freely, unchecked, not from relief, not from disbelief, but from recognition. She was seeing, perhaps for the first time, the full weight her daughter had carried, and how upright she had remained beneath it. Life had not been generous, but it had been answered.
This story draws its spirit from a book written many years ago, yet still quietly speaking to lives shaped by hardship and choice. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E Frankl emerged from a place where freedom seemed to have vanished entirely. Frankl, a psychiatrist and survivor of the Holocaust, noticed something both unsettling and hopeful. Even when circumstances cannot be changed, something essential remains untouched. At the heart of the book is the idea that human freedom does not end where suffering begins. It changes form. When control over life is lost, control over one's inner stance still remains. Frankl wrote about this as the freedom to choose one's attitude, not as optimism, not as denial, but as dignity under constraint. The story of Radha explored this idea quietly. not through speeches, not through rescue, but through endurance, responsibility, and repeated inner decisions made when no one was watching. Because attitude is not chosen once. It is chosen daily, in how we carry what we cannot remove. As Frankl reminded us, life does not promise fairness, but it always leaves us with a question. And the answer is given not in words, but in how we live. Thank you for watching. And if you liked this concept story, do not forget to click on the like button and subscribe to our channel.